What's going on, Wrestling News CC family? You need to sit down for this one, because what I'm about to tell you will change everything you thought you knew about WWE's current landscape. WWE has erupted once again, and the aftershocks of what just happened at Night of Champions are still shaking the very foundation of the company. Fans around the world are stunned. Commentators are speechless. Superstars in the locker room are panicking. Because Roman Reigns is not only back, he has launched a war. And not just any war. A carefully calculated takeover, a reawakening of something long feared, something fans once believed was buried in the past. Roman Reigns has returned, and he has unleashed a terrifying new version of the Shield. Before we dive into this absolute chaos, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because this story is going to have consequences that ripple through WWE for months to come. Let's go back to how this entire storm began. The Bloodline was falling apart. Solo Sikoa was betrayed by Jacob Fatu in an attack that seemed spontaneous and cold-hearted. But now, looking back with fresh eyes, we can see that betrayal was just the first domino in a much larger, more sinister plan. Solo had been struggling to maintain control ever since Roman's departure. JC Mateo was questioning his leadership. The unity that once made the Bloodline unstoppable was crumbling from within. Solo thought he was dealing with typical faction drama, but he had no idea he was walking into a trap that had been months in the making. Jacob Fatu's betrayal wasn't emotional. It wasn't personal. It was strategic. And that should have been everyone's first warning sign that something much bigger was at play. The wrestling world focused on the interpersonal drama, the family conflicts, the power struggles within the Bloodline. But while everyone was watching the obvious story unfold, Roman Reigns was orchestrating something far more dangerous in the shadows. He wasn't just planning a comeback. He was planning a complete restructuring of WWE's power dynamics, and he was going to use the very superstars who had once stood against him to do it. Night of Champions seemed like it would be a straightforward event. Championship matches, clear storylines, predictable outcomes. The main event featured Solo Sikoa defending his position as the new tribal chief against Cody Rhodes in what was billed as a grudge match with massive implications for both men's futures. The match itself was everything fans expected, brutal, emotional, and intensely personal. Solo was fighting not just for victory, but for validation as Roman's successor. Cody was battling to prove that he could overcome any obstacle, any faction, any legacy that stood in his way. But as the match reached its climax, as Solo was on the verge of securing a victory that would have solidified his leadership of what remained of the Bloodline, the arena went dark. When the lights returned, three figures stood at the top of the entrance ramp. Three silhouettes that sent a chill through every wrestling fan who remembered the absolute dominance, the calculated destruction, the unstoppable force that had once held WWE in a grip of fear. The Shield was back. But this wasn't the Shield that fans remembered from years past. Roman Reigns stood in the center, but he wasn't flanked by Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Instead, Jacob Fatu stood to his right, and to his left was someone that nobody saw coming, LA Knight, the charismatic superstar who had been climbing the ranks and building momentum as a fan favorite. The crowd's reaction was a mixture of shock, confusion, and electric excitement. This combination of superstars made no sense based on recent storylines, but it made perfect sense when you considered Roman's strategic mind and his ability to identify and recruit the most dangerous competitors in WWE. Jacob Fatu's betrayal of Solo suddenly made complete sense. He hadn't turned on Solo out of frustration or anger. He had been recruited by Roman weeks, possibly months earlier. Every moment of tension, every sign of growing resentment, had been carefully orchestrated to position Fatu for this exact moment. LA Knight's inclusion was perhaps the most shocking element. He had been building his own momentum, developing his own following, seemingly on a trajectory toward championship gold on his own merits. But Roman had seen something in Knight that others had missed, not just talent and charisma, but the hunger and ruthlessness necessary to be part of something truly dangerous. This new Shield wasn't just about nostalgia or recreating past success. This was about Roman assembling the most lethal combination of superstars possible, each bringing unique skills and attributes that made the group exponentially more dangerous than any previous incarnation. What followed was one of the most brutal and systematic attacks in WWE history. The new Shield didn't just interfere in the match, they dismantled everyone in their path with military precision. Solo Sikoa, exhausted from his grueling match with Cody Rhodes, had no chance against the coordinated assault. Jacob Fatu's betrayal was complete as he delivered devastating strikes to his former ally, while LA Knight used his technical skills to systematically break down Solo's defenses. But Roman Reigns, the architect of this destruction, saved the most personal moments for himself. The spear he delivered to Solo wasn't just a wrestling move, it was a statement. A declaration that the old bloodline was officially dead, and something far more dangerous had taken its place. Cody Rhodes, despite being the supposed victor of the match, found himself equally helpless against this new threat. The Shield's attack on him was particularly vicious, sending a clear message to every champion and contender in WWE that no one was safe from their reach. Security rushed to the ring, but they were overwhelmed by the sheer intensity and coordination of the assault. The new Shield worked with the kind of seamless teamwork that only comes from extensive planning and preparation. Every move was calculated, every strike was purposeful, and every moment was designed to send a message of absolute dominance. The immediate aftermath of Night of Champions has been chaos throughout WWE. Social media exploded with reactions from fans, wrestlers, and industry insiders all trying to process what they had witnessed. The hashtag New Shield trended worldwide within hours, and wrestling news outlets couldn't publish articles fast enough to keep up with the story. But beyond the immediate shock value, this reformation of the Shield represents something much more significant for WWE's future. Roman Reigns has essentially declared war on the entire company, and he's assembled the perfect weapons to wage that war. Jacob Fatu brings raw power and unpredictability. His background and fighting style make him one of the most dangerous competitors in WWE, and his betrayal of Solo proves he's willing to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. LA Knight adds charisma and technical skill, but more importantly, he brings credibility with the fanbase. His inclusion legitimizes this new Shield in a way that prevents it from being dismissed as just another heel faction. Knight's popularity complicates the narrative and creates internal conflict for fans who want to support him individually but fear what he's become part of. Roman Reigns, as the leader, brings strategic thinking and championship-level experience. But this isn't the same Roman who left WWE months ago. This is a more focused, more dangerous version who has had time to plan and prepare for exactly this kind of takeover. Looking ahead, the implications of this new Shield are staggering for WWE's entire landscape. Every championship, every storyline, every superstar's career trajectory is now potentially affected by what Roman has unleashed. The World Heavyweight Championship picture becomes incredibly complex with this new faction in play. Current champions will be looking over their shoulders, knowing that they could be targeted at any moment. Contenders will have to decide whether to align themselves with or against this new power structure. Tag team divisions could be completely reshuffled as other wrestlers are forced to form alliances to combat the threat posed by Roman's group. We're likely to see temporary partnerships and unlikely alliances as the roster tries to find ways to level the playing field. But perhaps most intriguingly, this new Shield creates the potential for some incredible dream matches and storylines. The original Shield members, Seth Rollins and whoever might represent Dean Ambrose's legacy, could find themselves in conflict with this new incarnation. The story possibilities are endless and incredibly exciting. WWE's creative team now has the foundation for months, possibly years of compelling television. The question isn't whether this storyline will be successful, it's how far WWE will be willing to push the boundaries of what this new Shield can accomplish. As we wrap up this breakdown of one of the most shocking nights in recent WWE history, I have to say that Roman Reigns has once again proven why he's considered one of the most intelligent and strategic minds in professional wrestling. This wasn't just a surprise return or a nostalgic callback to past success. This was a masterclass in long-term storytelling and character development. Roman took the time away from television to plan something truly special, and the execution at Night of Champions was flawless. My prediction is that this new Shield will dominate WWE programming leading up to WrestleMania, creating some of the most compelling television we've seen in years. The combination of established stars and rising talent, the mix of technical ability and raw power, and the leadership of Roman Reigns creates the perfect storm for incredible storytelling. But I also predict that this dominance will eventually lead to their downfall, because WWE history shows us that every dominant faction eventually faces opposition that proves stronger than their individual power. What did you think of Night of Champions and the formation of this new Shield? Do you think Roman made the right choices in Jacob Fatu and LA Knight? How do you see this storyline developing over the coming months? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing your predictions and theories. Don't forget to smash that like button if this breakdown helped you process the chaos, subscribe to Wrestling News CC for more exclusive wrestling analysis, and ring that notification bell because with storylines moving this fast, you don't want to miss any developments. Until next time, this has been Wrestling News CC, and remember, in the WWE universe, the most dangerous enemies are often the ones you never see coming. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.